How to install your Vesta H2, Athena H2, Melody 2 ionizer. All of the H2 ionizers use the same method for installation. For this video, we are using an Athena H2 ionizer. Notice that there's a protective film on the display of your ionizer to protect it from scratches during shipping. Once you receive your ionizer and get it set up, there's a yellow sticker in the corner that will help to start peeling the film off. I will now show you the items that come in the box with the ionizer. There's a gray tube. This is used to connect to the acidic outlet for the acidic water. There's a white 1/4 inch tubing. This is used to bring the water to the ionizer. There's a diverter valve. This is used to connect the ionizer to your faucet. It includes a couple of adapter rings to be used with the diverter if necessary. An angle stop adapter. This is used to connect your ionizer to the cold water line. A silver flexible hose. This is used to connect to the top of the ionizer, and it's where you get your drinking water from. A spare fuse is included. There's 2 suction cups. These can be used to help route your tubing. A bottle of reagent drops to test your pH, and it includes a pH chart. There's a bag of hardware that can be used for different mounting and installation uses. There's an optional inline sediment filter. And lastly, there's a cover plate that can be used on the bottom of the ionizer. There are 3 methods you can use to install your H2 ionizer. Method 1 is to connect the ionizer to your faucet using the diverter valve. Method 2 is to connect the ionizer to your cold water line using the angle stop adapter. Method 3 is to put the ionizer under the counter and use an under-counter conversion kit to install the unit. Full instructions come with the under-sink conversion kit. We recommend you use a licensed plumber for this installation method. I will now show you how to install the ionizer using method 1, connecting the ionizer to your faucet using the diverter valve. In order to install your diverter valve to your faucet, you'll first need to remove the aerator. We've already removed it on this faucet. At this point, you may need to use some plumber's tape and wrap some around the threads in a clockwise direction. You may also need to use one of the adapter rings in order to attach the diverter to your faucet. Our diverter fits without an adapter ring. Attach the diverter by screwing it onto the faucet. Don't over tighten it. If there are leaks, you can always tighten it a little bit more. Once the diverter is installed on the faucet, remove the compression nut. Install the compression nut onto the end of the 1/4 inch tubing. Then install the 1/4 inch tubing onto the nipple on the side of the diverter. This can be a little difficult. Sometimes it helps to dip the end of the tubing into some very hot water for 30 seconds or so to soften the tubing. Once it's on there all the way, move the compression nut back down to the threads and tighten the compression nut. This lever in a downward position allows the water to flow out of the faucet and no water to flow through the tubing. When the lever is turned to this position, no water will flow out of the faucet. All the water will be diverted through the tubing. Option 2, how to install your H2 ionizer directly to the cold water line. First, install the angle stop adapter to the cold water line. Once this is installed, insert the 1/4-inch tubing into the fitting on the angle stop adapter. This is a quick connect fitting. To install the tubing, simply press it in as far as it will go. Give it a little tug to make sure that it is secure. If you need to remove the tubing, press the ring at the opening of the collet while you pull the tubing out. Whether you choose to install your ionizer to the faucet using the diverter, which is method 1, or directly to the cold water line using the angle stop adapter, which is method 2, the tubing connections at the bottom of the ionizer will be the same. We'll go through them now. Gently place the ionizer on its back. You will first need to connect the 1/4-inch tubing to the tap water inlet fitting on the bottom of the ionizer. This is a quick connect fitting, so you will push the tubing into the fitting. Make sure to brace the fitting on the back side with your other hand to prevent damage. Firmly press the tubing in to the fitting and then tug a little to make sure that it's a good connection. Next, you will install the acidic hose. You will use the hose clamp that is included in the hardware. Slide the hose clamp onto the end of the acidic hose. You will connect the acidic hose to the acidic outlet fitting on the bottom. It may make it easier to put the end of the hose in a cup of very hot water for 15 or 30 seconds to soften the hose. Then slide the hose onto the acidic outlet. Make sure to brace the outlet on the back side with your other hand to prevent damage. Once the tube is fully inserted onto the fitting, use a pair of pliers. Grasp the hose clamp and squeeze it and move it down to the end of the hose. Make sure to turn it so that the tabs won't interfere when you stand the ionizer upright. This acidic hose will lay in your sink. You can trim it to the proper length for your installation. If you choose to use the optional sediment filter, it will be installed as follows. First, notice that on one fitting there's an arrow pointing in indicating the flow of water. This is the water going in. This fitting has an arrow pointing out. Install the tubing coming from your faucet diverter or your cold water line adapter into the first fitting following the arrow for the water flow. Cut a small length of tubing insert one end of this tubing into the other fitting. Then insert this into the cold water fitting, tap water fitting at the bottom of the unit. If you're using the optional sediment filter, remember to clean it occasionally. To do so, unscrew the top, remove it, remove the small filter inside, simply rinse it out under the faucet to clean it, then reinstall it and reinstall the cap. Notice that there are two openings, one here and one here, in the bottom of the case of the ionizer. These can be used to route your tubing and your power cord so that the ionizer will sit nicely on the counter. Once you've routed the tubing and power cord through those openings, sit the ionizer upright on the counter. Now install the flexible metal hose to the top of the ionizer. This screws in to the top spout on the ionizer. Do not over tighten it. Once that's installed, plug the power cord into the wall outlet. Now, before turning on the water and testing the ionizer, we recommend removing the filter doors and checking the filters for proper positioning. To open the filter doors, you will need to press the button at the bottom of each door. While you press this button in, press upward at the door and then gently remove it. Remove the styrofoam that is around each filter and discard it. It's simply placed there for shipping. Now you will just need to check the filters to make sure they're properly seated. If you need to remove them and reseat them, turn the filter counterclockwise to the unlocked position. Then remove the filter by pulling upward. You may have to wiggle it a little. Sometimes the seal at the bottom with the O-rings is somewhat tight and difficult to remove the filter at first. Then reinstall the filter by setting it on to the filter base. Make sure the tabs line up with the slot. Press it down and turn it clockwise to lock it in place. Do this procedure with both filters before turning on the water to test the unit. It's a good idea to leave the filter doors off while you test it to make sure there's no leaking. But when you are ready to reinstall the doors, notice there are 4 tabs on the door. These 4 tabs line up with 4 slots on the ionizer. Line up the tabs and then press downward. When you turn on the water to get a glass of water from your H2 ionizer, the display will light up indicating the current setting.
Alkaline ionized water on process.
The voice will indicate the setting we are currently on. There are 5 levels of alkaline water to choose from. Level 1 is the lowest setting, and level 5 is the highest or strongest alkaline setting. When the machine is on the alkaline setting, alkaline water flows through the flex hose, and acidic water flows out your acidic hose. When you choose an acidic setting, you have two levels to choose from. Level 1 is the lowest, level 2 is the highest or strongest acidic setting. A voice will indicate you are on the acidic setting, and then music will play to warn you that acidic water is now flowing out of the flex hose.
Acidic ionized water on process. Crystal clear water in production.
I have now chosen the purified setting. Most people use this setting to take medication or mix baby formula. You also have a flow knob on the front of the machine. This controls flow rate, or how quickly the water flows through the machine. This can greatly affect the pH level. The slower the flow, the higher the pH level will be. There's a hard water test strip included with your ionizer. Be sure to use the test strip. I will show you where you would install them. Remove the filter door by pressing the button at the bottom while pressing upward on the door, and gently remove it. Remove the filter, turn it counterclockwise to the unlocked position, pull the filter out, remove the cap at the top of the filter, and insert one of the baskets into the filter. Make sure to remove the cap from the top of the insert, then slide the insert into the hole on the filter and reinstall the cap. Tighten it and then reinstall the filter. Turn it clockwise to lock and reinstall your filter door by matching the tabs with the slots. Your unit also comes with an optional cover plate that can be installed on the bottom of the unit. If you wish to install this cover plate, it would go right here in this position. 4 screws are included in the hardware packet to install the plate. There are small holes on the sides for the tubing to go through. If you decide to install this plate, please remember to do so only after you've fully set up the ionizer and tested it to make sure that it operates properly and there are no leaks coming from the connection area. This completes the installation video for the H2 ionizers. Enjoy your water. How to replace your filters and reset your filter counters in any H2 series ionizer. Your H2 series ionizer has 2 filters. Filter 1 is on this side and filter 2 is on this side. The filter counter indicators will show up on the screen when you have the water running.
Alkaline ionized water on process.
This counter located here is for filter 1, and this counter is the indicator for filter 2. When the filter counter indicators read 999, it's time to replace your filters, or once per year, whichever comes first. When you're ready to replace your filters, the first step is to remove the filter doors. We'll start with filter 1. First, press and hold the white button located beneath the filter door. As you hold the button in, slide the door upward with your other hand and then remove the door. If you have a smart filter version, H2 unit, Your unit will have a wire harness in each filter compartment. If you have a previous version, H2 unit, your filter may have the wire harness, but you will not have the part of the wire coming out of the machine. Instead, right here at this location, you will have a filter reset button. For this demonstration, we'll be using a smart version machine with the wire, but we will show you both methods for replacing the filter and resetting the counter. First step is to disconnect the wire harness if you have the wire harness. Disconnect it. Next step is to remove the filter. Do this by turning the filter counterclockwise until the filter is unlocked. It's unlocked when the tabs on the bottom of the filter line up with the slots in the filter base. Once it's unlocked, lift the filter out gently. Have a towel handy because the filter will be full of water. You also may have water in the bottom of the filter compartment. This is normal. Your new replacement filter will likely have a seal on the bottom. Before installing the filter, be sure to peel this seal off of the filter. To install the new filter, place the filter on the filter cushion base, making sure to line up the tabs on the bottom of the filter with the slots in the base of the filter compartment. When they're lined up, press the filter down and then turn it clockwise until it's locked into place. If your H2 unit has a wire harness, you will need to connect the wire harness with the harness on the new filter. Doing this will reset your filter counter for this filter. If you have a previous version H2 unit that does not have a wire harness on the machine, simply leave the wire harness on the filter hanging loose. Your machine will have a reset button in this spot. To reset your filter counter, you will press and hold the reset button for 3 to 5 seconds. When you first press the button, you'll hear a beep. Once you've held it for about 3 to 5 seconds, you will hear a second beep indicating that the filter counter has been reset. You can then let go of the button. So I'm going to plug this one back in since we have the smart filter version. Once your filter has been fully installed and you've reset your counter or connected the wire harness, you will replace filter 2 if it is time for that filter also. The procedure will be done the same way. Once your filters are replaced, you will need to flush the filters for 1 to 2 minutes until the water runs clear. You'll do this by turning the water on for the machine and letting the water run on the purified setting for about 1 or 2 minutes until the water runs clear. While you're doing this, check around the filters to make sure there's no leaking. Once you've finished flushing the filters, you can turn the water off and then it's time to reinstall the filter doors. To reinstall the filter door, you will simply line up the tabs on the door with the slots on the machine on each side of the filter compartment. Once the door is lined up, slide it down until it locks into place. This completes replacing your filters and resetting the counters. Enjoy your water.